You're listening to the PowerPlatform People podcast on the CRM Audio Network with the bearded CRM guy Ian Connolly and TheMarkChristie. The guys will take you on a journey of the PowerPlatform community. Here we go. Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe to the podcast with your favourite app and check out crm.audio for information on all the other shows on the network.
So, with us today we have Flo Joe. How are we doing, Joe?
I'm good. How are you?
We are not too bad. We believe that we are bursting your podcast cherry.
Yeah, it's the first time for everything.
Hopefully it's not brute force and you enjoy it.
I am here of my own free will.
Excellent.
Do we need to get one of those waivers signed before it goes out?
I mean, you can use this as a waiver for me to be here.
Excellent. So it is one of your first podcasts because you are relatively new within the whole Power Apps, Power People, Power Platform, whatever community we're calling it this week.
Yeah, I mean, as of April this year.
So was April the first time you've been involved in any of the community, or have you been kind of looking from afar?
I mean, like I knew of the community, but I didn't actually interact with anyone or touch any of the actual software. I didn't really know what Power Platform was or what it contained.
So what were you doing 5 months ago then? Because that's how long that is then if it's April.
I'm an automation engineer, so I was coding basically.
Selenium, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I use Puppeteer as well, a breadth of different languages, and yeah, that's my main skill set.
So was it a specific app that you're doing test automation for, or was it just anything that was put across your desk?
No, I work for a security company. It's under a NDA, so I can't really speak much about it, but we produce this amazing piece of software that I basically wrote an automation framework, and we have that run on a continuous integration system, a CI system. Every night it runs through hundreds and hundreds of tests, and we can check to see if our developers have destroyed anything in the process of committing their code.
Proper automation testing then is where it's the kind of Valhalla of where everybody wants to be for it.
Yeah, it's really strange because there's like this whole developer set, and then there's this whole like manual QA set, but neither really want to touch either's like side basically. So I'm slap bang in the middle of them. I know how to develop because that's what I started as, and I also know how to test. And they call me the day walker.
I think that's a really good place to be. Actually, we've got where I am just now. There's like an automation tester that came in that's the same as yourself, I suppose, that we didn't know Dynamics, and he's been building stuff out in Easy Repo of our test scripts. And yeah, it's taken a bit of time to take one of the test scripts, 100 odd 20 or a couple of hundred steps.
Sure.
Takes some time to put it together, but then when you run it, it's 15 minutes and the test complete, whereas it would take somebody a day.
Exactly, and you can run it repeatedly, so it just
awesome.
saves you. It's a big investment to begin with, but eventually, it pays itself off.
That's just exactly what I was going to say. It's front loaded, isn't it? You have to pay at the start of it to see the returns, and then you just realise how quickly you're like every night you're running tests to find out if anything's broke before anybody wakes up in the morning.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like if you have a small website and you want to run a load of tests on it, you can run the tests in parallel as well. So you could actually have hundreds of tests run within a minute, for example, depending on your resources, which is pretty awesome.
That is awesome. So going from there, you then moved into the Dynamics sort of marketplace almost. You've seen that 5 months ago you came in to the community, one of us.
Yeah, well, I'm actually not working in it. I'm still doing my automation stuff. I do all of this really for fun at the moment. and a career change because like I really enjoy automation, but I've been doing it for a very long time now, 10 years now. So I'm looking for something new, and Microsoft Flow really is an automation aspect that I could just pick up and run with, which was really awesome.
Do you
So
think
do you find it?
on you go?
Do you find it a little bit different now, going from, obviously you're kind of doing test automation scripts to like functionality automation, really?
Yes and no. So yeah, there's obviously difference. I'm not like asserting that something has gone correctly, but the same mindset, I think, is that you have to approach it of what can this computer basically do that I don't want to do. Like I hate manual testing. I started as a manual tester. I did it for a long time, and I found it repetitive and boring. And I salute anyone in the manual testing industry, because they are key players and key people that are definitely needed in the software development system. However, I just wanted to get a computer to do it for me, because and that's how I became an automation developer, really, because I'd done development and then I'd went into testing to like just change it up a bit, and I thought, oh, there must be a way of getting the computer to do all these repetitive tasks. And then obviously that's kind of what Flow does. It connects everything, and it can notify you of any repetitive tasks, anything like that. Like I've created a flow that sends me a message at 12 o'clock every day, because that's what my lunch is, and it tells me how cold it is outside, so I know if I need to grab my coat or not, because I'm sat in an air-conditioned room all day. It's the same temperature all the time, so I know if I need to just take my coat with me rather than having to go out, check to see what the temperature's like, etc.
I think that's totally embracing the concept of what flow is, isn't it? Like the way that Microsoft first push flow was, if you're doing it twice, you should automate it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what you're doing there. It's rather than looking out the window, you've got something to tell you, so you just know. Because obviously, being Scottish, for us, we look out the window and it looks like it's nice, and you go outside and it's freezing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we're all in the UK. It's pretty much the same down here. It's really hot when I go in.
It's not pretty much the same.
Well. I mean, it's probably a bit more wet and cold and grey up there, but yeah. But I go in and it's really hot, and I go out at lunch and I'm freezing. It just changes so much. But yeah, that's the good old UK.
So one of the cool things I was doing at the start of this week was a little conference over 2 days, and I was actually doing how to save time and increase productivity in your working day. And it was pretty much use this flow, use that flow, do this and do that. So it's quite a cool, there's so many different things. So I was using, have you seen the flick buttons you get?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've got some.
So I was using a flick. So if you press the flick once, it would create a 15-minute calendar appointment. So somebody comes to your desk, you click your flick, it puts a 15-minute appointment to say, I'm away speaking to somebody. If you double click, it tells you, as I always am, that Mark is running late for his Teams meeting.
Awesome.
And the long press, I can't even remember what it was doing. But it was, do you know what? I mean, I'm very, very gimmicky in one for visual stimulations.
Yeah.
And just seeing them, as showing them the button and thinking, so rather than having this as a physical button, if you have a team site, you can have a team site with a page on Flow that you can just click whichever Flow button you want. And as long as you've written it correctly, then it's so much time you're going to save.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the beauty of Flow is you can get as complex or you don't actually have to get any, there's no complexity to just having a simple manual trigger to do something, but you can get as complex as you want. I did a blog post about the HTTP request trigger. So you can send a request to Flow and pass some data in, and then it does all this technical stuff that if you're a developer and you want to actually analyze and actually process, then you can get Flow to do it all for you rather than having to ship it off yourself or write something more technical. And especially if you're in the Microsoft framework and you want to pass that information up to Dynamics or use it in a Power App, etc. It's just an amazing piece of connectivity software, really.
It's massive. What, over 200 plus out the box connectors? Never mind all the ones you want to build as custom connectors. And I'm speaking to Matt from Data 8. He's quite, probably like yourself, decent dev and all the rest of it. So he can fling a connector together in 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, there was the recent I just basically did a whole thing on a recent conference that took people through how to build a custom connector, basically. And I did it within the 30 minutes, did it slow so that people could follow it. And I connected to a third-party API, which was Companies House, which is, if people don't know, it's basically the government website that has all information on the companies in the UK. You could then scrape any data from that website by simply putting Microsoft, for example, in, and you could pass in also like a location like Cambridge. So in Cambridge, there is the Microsoft Research Department on 21 Station Road. And what I did was I basically scraped all the information and just dumped it into a nice little HTML table, and we had all of the information there that we could then pass to our Dynamics counterpart and populate all of the information on there if they were someone you was actually working with, for example.
It's pretty awesome.
So does that mean the next time you're going to do one of these conferences, if I tell you what connector I want built?
I was just thinking the same thing here.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've give you the tools for you to do it yourself now, really. So,
oh, burn! Right back in your face there, Mark. Sorry, that face as well, right? Crap. I was using the get HTTP request today to run some fetch XML to query data that meet certain criteria and stuff, and I was like, well, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Much better than the geofenced "I've left work" text that I send Jen.
Oh, I do like the geofencing. It's just it's a bit flaky at the moment, but it is in preview.
It's just fun.
I really love the whole concept of geofencing. Actually, walking into somewhere and getting something, or walking out of somewhere and texting your other half is just
amazing. I messed up though because I put the geofence really small. So anytime I left the office, I was text getting sent, so I had to make it much bigger. There's my first mistake. Don't be so accurate.
I heard that a guy had set it up so whenever he went into the local supermarket, it would automatically ping his wife, "Do you want anything?" So then he could just then.
That's where I took the information from. I'm sure it was Joel that had that. So he had that set up. He had that going anytime he passed the supermarket. He sent it, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm going to do that for when I leave work because I normally phone the other half when I'm heading home. Just I'll send her a text." But yeah, I ended up doing it every time I went out for like a coffee, lunch, a walk. Like, I'm just grassing myself in here.
Yeah. Ian has done no work at all today.
Pretty much.
He's got flows to do it all.
So with the sort of the flow and the automation, are you looking at any ways to try and automate testing through flow?
So I've looked at basically due to our whole CI system set up at work, what I've done is whenever there's a failure, because we use we don't really use the Microsoft CI stack, we use Jenkins. The only way that we get notified is if we are on Slack. We basically send a message and says "Oh, something's failed. Click here to look at." So what I've done is I've now sent the test results via the HTTP request to Flow, and then it can go through an automated request system to see if it's just us, or no, there's a bug there's an actual bug in the system. So I've been trying to build some kind of structure and do some research around that basically. But I would love to build my own automation framework for the Power Platform. That's
so you kind of went back a little bit on yourself there. You were saying that you do it just for fun and you don't do it within your work.
Well, no, I'm not actually.
I appreciate it's not part of your job. You are bringing it into work. That's exactly it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you're excited about, you're going to bring to work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
It's a good thing. I'm just commenting on it more than anything else as an observation. It's something that you started playing about with just as something else, and you can see how that's changing your work.
Yeah, exactly. Already. Yeah.
Definitely. How have your work taken to using Flow? Because I know a lot of places governance is a huge thing. Is it something that they've been quite strict with, or they're like, no, Joe, on you go, just knock your salary?
I have kind of freedom at work to really do and use what I want, as long as it's like sensible, I guess. So like I really use this for myself, and I've just got a new team member that I'm training up at the moment, and I'm going to introduce him to this next week as well, so that I can like kind of hand over the reins to him, so that if there's any issues, he'll be able to just jump straight on it, etc.
It's another set of eyes on it as well, a different way of doing the same
Exactly.
thing potentially, because that's another one of the benefit I see with Flow is the way I'll do something will be totally different from how you'll do it.
Sure. I think that my work's kind of worried, really, because they heard that I was doing the Flow conference, and they was like, "Oh, really? Like, how many people are going to be there?" And I was like, "Oh, there's 29,000." They were like, "What? What? You're not going to get headhunted, are you? Like, you're not going to leave us, are you?" I was like, well, no."
Yeah, I can't say yes or no to that at the moment.
Yeah.
So was that conference with John the first event that you've done publicly?
That is the first ever event I've done. Yeah.
It's not a bad kind of merit there, is it? 29,000 people streaming live across the world on YouTube.
I think just before looking at this, just before this started, there was like 33,000 people had viewed it, which is kind of scary but amazing at the same time.
Really, isn't it? That's nothing.
Yeah. It did wonders for my Twitter followers. So
I thought you were going to say your bowel movements the day before.
Well, it did the day before, yeah.
I mean, do you know what? I talk I was just say all the time. I talk quite often, and I still get nervous before it. I don't think that ever goes away.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you just learn coping mechanisms, really, don't you?
Yeah,
so.
It's flipping the same emotion. Nervousness is the same emotion, just your brain interpreting it differently from excitement.
Exactly.
You just need to retrain your brain, apparently.
Yeah, I've heard that plenty of times. That's very true.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference how many times you
No. I'm still sitting there going, "Oh my god!"
Like, this before.
Yeah.
So was it totally live or was it pre-recorded?
No, it was pre-recorded.
Right.
There was 18 people doing half-an-hour slots, and then there was John basically introducing everyone. So it was kind of like super complicated to get it all like linked up. So he decided to pre-record it, which was I think the right decision.
Yeah,
but we was in the live chat, like, so we could actually interact with people.
It's probably better that way, actually. If you pre-record the content, you don't have any technical issues, and then if you're in a live chat, it's not taken away from your presentation, and you're able to give tentative feedback at the time.
Especially for online, I definitely think like that's the case. Obviously, when you're presenting live, you loads of people always run into technical issues, so you just can't really get away from that unless you have a video plan, which will probably bore people. But if you're online and everyone's sitting in the comfort of their own home, I think a pre-recorded conference and actually interacting with the people that are talking is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think so.
When is it? About 3 weeks' time that I'm doing one, the 24-hour PowerPlatform event. I'm doing an hour there. That should be quite interesting. I don't know if it's live or not yet, so yes, I'm taking Joe's. We'll just pre-record it and sit in the chat. That's the way forward.
Yeah. I mean, you could even get Flow to automate the responses, just analyze the
text. just hook them all up to the
cognitive services.
The cognitive
services. Or your media streamer, your deck, and just hit the buttons. Like a really bad commercial, like you're dropping in grenades and fire and sirens, but just trigger some response.
Yeah. So what I did with the conference is I basically didn't want anyone to worry about writing any notes, because that's like the way that I learn. I really struggle to take notes and concentrate at the same time and get everything out of a conference, basically. So what I did was I pre-wrote all of the notes up, did further explanations of all the screens, etc. and then just put that on Twitter so that anyone could have access to it, so they didn't actually have to.
So that's only on Twitter. It's not on like the YouTube stream.
Oh yeah. I put it in the comments, but like
Great.
my primary thing of communication is Twitter at the moment, which is really funny because I have an account from 2017 that I hadn't actually used ever. I had 0 followers as of April this year, and then I was at a conference. Well, it was a conference after party. I didn't actually go to the conference in the Netherlands, which where I met John Levesque the first time, and Lucy Muscat and Lee Baker basically was like, "How would you not use Twitter? You should be following us." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really know what Twitter is. Like, I don't really understand it at all." I was just like, I don't get why you would want to put stuff online. Like,
Such a short character space.
yeah. Like, if I want to put something, I want to put like a massive word essay or something. Why do I want 120, 240 characters or whatever? So that's how it kind of started, really. They just grabbed my phone, found my Twitter account, and started following me and told me I've got to follow them back.
So what conference was that? Was that the summit?
That was the, I think it was the PowerPlatform
World Tour.
World Tour or Summit or something. I'm not entirely sure because I just basically went to meet a load of people. I just wanted to basically get introduced to people, because like this was like when I was first thinking, oh, maybe I'll dip my toes in the water. But yeah, so we was out.
Go, that's head first into the lake.
Yeah.
Especially meeting Lucy. Oh, jeez. That's it.
Well, I've got to give credit to Lucy because she's the one that came up with the name Flo Jo. I was sat at the airport the next day waiting to go home, and her and Lee sat down with me, and I was like, oh, like I spoke to John last night, and he basically sold Flo to me, telling me all about the automation stuff. And she was like, "Oh, you should be Flo Jo then," and it's kind of just stuck ever since, really.
So I actually think
should happen. You shouldn't get to pick them; they should just be given to you.
I think I might have missed you by a day. Then did you come out towards the end of that week?
Yeah, right at the end, basically.
So I was there and with Lucy and John and Brian and everything the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and went home the Wednesday night. So I've probably missed you by
this conversation. I wasn't there.
I must have just missed you because I went with John and Daniel and Sarah to some massive windmill farm as well. We basically went all around Amsterdam. It was amazing, yeah. It's really cool. Got to meet amazing people.
Yeah, it was a good one. So have you been to any other conferences since then?
Yes, I went to a 365 Saturday in Toronto and then on to Montreal the next day early this year.
Now, how did you find that? Obviously, it's not just D365. It's got a bit of everything now.
Yeah. I mean, it was like my first actual time watching people do all the presentations, and there was loads of people there presenting on Power Apps, Power BI, Flow, and it was kind of just it was an amazing experience, really. I mean, like. I wasn't really big on the whole conference thing before, but I can definitely see the benefit of them, and people sharing their knowledge is a pretty amazing thing.
I think that's the key there. I think within the conferences that I've been to, certainly for like the Dynamics type stuff, and I mean the Dynamics platform, Power BI, everything, there's that community part of it. So it's not just about, here is a really boring conference for work. It's people giving up a lot of their own time to do it. Which makes
definitely.
A difference.
Definitely, and you can see the passion as well. That's the thing that really struck me, is like no one's paying these people to do these conferences. I mean, they might be paying them to go there or whatever, but it's not an actual like a work event. It's their passion, and that definitely comes through with their presentations, I think.
Did you find it a little bit weird to start with how passionate and like how much of a group they are? Because I've never seen that. I mean, I've worked in different industries, different products, and it's like, go and do your own thing. But here it's like everyone is in. If one person's in the shit, everyone's in the shit. They're all grouped together. It's weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. I mean, like, everyone knows everyone and everyone's super supportive of everyone, and there's not really competition. It's kind of like trying to help the community, and it's like everyone banding together. And it was really weird for me as an experience for the first time, but it was really cool.
Can you,
Yeah.
the weird thing that I find hilarious though is you could have like three people in a room who are bidding on the same customer job, who will just blether and talk nonsense. Whereas if you're in a different industry, they are like, I
Enemies.
see you sitting over there, I am going to mess you up.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not like that at all. It's more like, yeah, what's going on? How you doing? Oh yeah, we're in there as well. And that's the end of it. It's just,
It was really, yeah, it's really surreal because I went to the the conference, like, kind of having an open mind, really, and then and I had people talking, saying, "Oh yeah, I was in that bid. Oh, did you win it? Oh, that's amazing." It was like, but like you're in competition. Why are you not fighting each other?
Yeah, that you won it. All right, how did you do this part? Because we weren't quite sure how to do this part. Oh, you've
Yeah.
used that for it. Oh, that's really cool. We didn't think about that.
Yeah. It's a really strange. I mean, but there's obviously enough work for everyone, which is lovely. So
yeah. But I was speaking to Ian on the phone earlier. Like I had an MVP based down south send me a message yesterday saying, "Oh, I've got something that I couldn't do. Who's up in your neck of the woods? I've just given them your details." And I'm like, "Okay, you've just passed on a lead to me. Fine. I don't expect it at all. It's still, I mean, I've been doing this stuff for years, but it still freaks me out a little bit."
yeah. It's really weird. Yeah. I mean, I
Wait,
don't
there's
really
no
know what to say
complaint.
about it. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly. Let's not
it
question it too much. You start analysing that and something breaks.
yeah.
So, as part of the community, on Saturday, you went to your first hackathon.
Yes, the global hackathon as well, and I led a team. That was quite a shell shock experience. I was talking to Lee, who was obviously helping set it all up, etc. And I was like, "Oh, I haven't got a team, so I don't really know what to do. I don't really know a lot of people in person to like invite to this event." And he was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll set you up. I'll get people for you, etc." And he was like, "Right, you've got a team. You've got all these people. I had Samit, who'd just been made an MVP. I had Lucy in it. I had loads of people in there, and it was crazy." And then I thought, right, now I don't really know what to expect, and I've got to like manage these people and get something produced. And it was.
I think the hardest thing with that hack there as well is being one of the organisers for the Scotland side of it. As you know yourself, being a team lead, you didn't know what was happening until 24 hours beforehand. You knew the
Yeah,
rough topic, but you didn't know the criteria. You had no idea what it was meant to be. There was no solution that you could have pre-built from it. So yeah,
sure.
you've got that whole different element of that as well, isn't it? Which was cool. It was really awesome to see what was built in 4.5 hours.
Yeah, and the thing I think I would like to let everyone know that I struggled with and what you can like actually improve on is you should set someone up to do the video straight away because we got to the point where it was like, right, we've got an hour left to do this video, let's start getting it done. And then 5 minutes before the end, we'd only done like 2 minutes of the video thinking, oh my God, we're not going to get it done in time. We should have dedicated more resource to this. What were we doing? But yeah.
So I actually spent about 3 hours. So I was one of the global judges, and I spent about 3 hours today watching through the video. There are two videos that I would say are almost movie class production.
Oh, really?
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I bet I know whose one of them is. I'm not
Who are
going to
you
say
going
names
for?
just in case it's not.
So the podcast won't be out before the winner's announced, so you can go for it.
It's more I don't know how to pronounce Narayan Solanik.
Oh, yeah, you might be right.
He is. They are all about the video production. Like, and we have a global hack team, community lead WhatsApp chat, and some of the videos they've produced in there are amazing. And like, I was talking about how can I hook. This is, by the way, not podcast, right? But I was talking about how I can hook like my GoPro up to the laptop to record or do this, and like they're sending me these links to different things to get from Amazon and do this and do that. I think actually in their sideline they're a movie producer by the looks of it.
Oh. So that one was awesome, and Michael Ox as well. Oaks over in the States. He done one which was brilliant. He actually had a space helmet on and done the whole thing wearing a space helmet. And I'm like, what's going on here? So yeah, no, it was quite good. So was Lucy in your team? Did you say there?
Yeah, Lucy was in my team. Yeah.
So were you about then when? Because from Scotland we FaceTimed down to London at one point.
Oh really? Oh no, I didn't know that. I saw a lot of people from America FaceTiming everywhere, and I jumped on and I basically just tried to show my face to everyone. Tried to talk to everyone, tried to find out who everyone was and what they were doing, etc. And it's really like hard because you want to socialize so much at these events, but you've got only 4 hours to like really get something done. So I kind of struggled with that, but
I started making. Sorry, you go, Joe.
The thing that I really struggled with was like the ideas section, because we decided kind of on an idea area, but then we wanted to discuss it in a room basically. So we all sat down, started talking about it, and then just kind of it was like one small idea that we can get done within 4 hours. It kind of turned into like, and on the 5th phase in like 5 years we can do something. And I was like, guys, look, just let's bring it back. We've got like 3 hours now. We need to start working on this.
That's definitely the hardest part. I think the teams in Scotland had as well, was everybody has their own idea.
Yeah.
And they want it to work. They want their idea to fit. And then you're looking at all the drawings on the whiteboard or where they mind mapped out. And you're like, right, so where did you get to this stage? And what about this stage? And what about that stage? Yeah, we didn't get there. Yeah, I didn't think we were going to, but fair play. You wanted to bring cognitive services in to do voice recognition?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was really interesting. There was like, we could like build an AI to analyze all of the data that we've sent through. And I was like, whoa. Maybe in like another day if we carry on doing this, but not right now. Let's get like it basically built and have some basic functionality going before we jump down the AI route.
So that was one of
have a crazy amount of pizza after it as well.
Yeah. I mean, we had so much pizza, it was ridiculous. And then we went to this German bar afterwards, and the pints there were the size of me. It was ridiculous.
Oh, proper steins.
Proper steins. Yeah, it was great.
And that's the other part of the other side of the community. Everyone's a drunk. No, they're not drunks, but everyone likes a drink.
Everyone likes a drink, yeah. It's really interesting.
Play hard and do it all together.
Because like I don't really drink a lot, so when I go to these events, I'm like, wow, I cannot keep up.
Me and Mark had this conversation not 2 days ago about different stuff. We're like, it's great going to the events and stuff, and I like going to the social bits afterwards, but I can't do a week event in the pub every night.
yeah, I kind of like need to take a relaxing spa day or something. A detoxification day. Yeah,
that could work actually. So the talk was about the MVP summit, and I'm like, I don't. It's my birthday at the same time, so I'm like, I don't want to be away from home for my birthday, and I don't drink at all, so I don't want to be sitting with people just drunk every night and stuff like that. So I'm like, But then, if I could throw in a spa day or a hockey match or something, just halfway through.
I mean, there are people that don't drink, so you could just make fun of all the people that get drunk. So,
not everybody. That's what I was just going to say. It's unfair to tar everybody with that brush. Some people are just mental; they're not drunk.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone is in some kind of form of intoxication, be it mental or drunk or whatever.
I mean, let's be honest, anyone that's in IT is pretty much on the spectrum at some place anyway. So
it's interesting you were saying that, because we had a head teacher in London, like assessing all of the stuff that we were doing for the TGI event, the Global Hack, and we was like, we're thinking, because like my team's kind of thing was looking at emotional like levels of children, and he was like saying, there's dyslexia, which is kind of on the spectrum with this, that, and that, and I was like, but pretty much everyone on the IT is on the spectrum, and he just seemed so offended. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Probably all the funny people that are on the spectrum.
There definitely is, though, because everyone has that, especially. So, how's the best way? So, developers are okay. Developers can think, but it's people who are just coders who you put a spec in front of them and they just code. That's all they do. They just sit there and code constantly. They're definitely on.
Well, that's what I come from, and that's what the reason I went into that is that I didn't have to interact with people. I was thinking, if someone just gives me something and I can sit at my desk and I can sit in front of a computer and work and not interact with anyone, that is my dream job. I remember starting work at a place, a company called Derivco, which was like a big software development house. And they sat me down and put a phone on my desk. I unplugged it without telling them instantly. I was like, there's no way I want someone to call me.
Yesterday at work, we had a meet the team day where they brought everybody from all the offices to one location because there was a big changeover of staff. And this is like program managers, commercial people, marketing people, account managers, just everybody. So I had to go to this. It was 2 hours. I lasted about 45 minutes before I went back up the stairs to my desk. And one of the program managers was there, and she just laughed and she went, "It's funny, all the techies started appearing in the last 3 minutes. They all just had enough and you could see them just moving back up to their space." I'm like, I appreciate that. Like, I actually quite like the fact that we all lasted to the same point and went, I just need to go and sit at my computer.
Sure. Yeah. Just a chill time. Just need some me time.
Yeah, I've had too much socialising here with too many people that I don't really interact with on a day-to-day basis.
Some people just find socialising exhausting. I mean, and I think that's a fair thing. There's all types of people. Some people, like, their energy comes from socialising, and some people just, need some time on their own.
The best comment I had yesterday was from one of my peers in the same team and stuff of me was, he just said, "Smile with your eyes and shake their hand." And I turned around at one point and seen him doing it, and I totally buckled and fell off my seat. I was like, I can see what he's doing. He's got this cheesy eye, smiley face, shaking his hand like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But okay, I will shake your hand. Like, it's so fake. It's
I do not care about you.
Yeah, just something straight out the whole IT group.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
So, obviously, you've been in Flow now 5 or 6 months. What actually attracted you to Flow in the first place? Had you used If This Then That before and thought, oh, here's the Microsoft version, or did you just by chance come across it?
Well, it's all from meeting John Levesque when he I was saying to him, like, look, I'm an automation engineer and I'm thinking about like changing my career, etc. And he was like, oh, if you like automation, you're gonna like Flow. And I was like, what the hell is Flow? Flow what? Flow, Microsoft Flow? I have no idea what you're talking about. And he was like, oh, like it does all of this type of like automation stuff. And what I did was I was like, okay, right, look, I'm going to give it a go. I was kind of just saying that to him, so like kind of stop him talking at that point. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. But I was like, right, look, I'll give it a go when I get home, etc. So I got home and decided, right, I really like one of my fundamental things is I like teaching people, because automation is kind of a unique kind of skill set. So I really enjoy teaching manual testers to become automation testers and developers to become automation testers. And I found that like visualizing and video and actually communicating what you're learning often helps people. So I decided to basically record jumping into Microsoft Flow with zero knowledge. I just started recording my screen, put on a webcam, signed into an account I just created and started going around the site basically. And from there, it's just kind of spiraled out of control. I've been doing loads of stuff with it, and I've been really enjoying it. And it's kind of my hobby now, really.
It does become addictive, and it doesn't. I bet it doesn't even feel like it's anything to do with work. It's just
no.
Because you've got everyone in the community interacting with you about it. It's just like it becomes day to day.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the communication on Twitter between everyone is amazing. Like, you've got people showing their blog posts, sharing it everywhere. So if you want to learn something new, just click on a link on there and you've got access to some crazy things someone's doing with some of the Power Platform software that you would have no idea with. What I decided to do is I tried to make Flow an application itself, because I like my Power Apps knowledge is pretty limited at the moment, and that's what like my next like 6 month plan is, to learn Power Apps, Canvas apps, and model driven apps, is because I think I want to ultimately become a Power Platform developer, basically, and create like an app, be an app developer.
So is
So what
that
I did,
your career path then? Is coming
yeah,
into the
I think so. Yeah, I think like I really enjoy what I do, and if I can do it for a job, then why not? You've got to enjoy. You've got to enjoy your job, because you spend most of your life at work, really. So, um, but yeah. So what I did was I basically created this little NHL application, because I started getting really into ice hockey last year.
oh
And what you could do is you basically load up Flow, pull in a team name, and it would go off to the NHL site, scrape their information, bring it back, and then it would find the team that they had previously played, and then tell you basically send you a mobile notification of what the last score was. So I kind of tried to experiment by not using Power Apps to create an app just with Flow, basically. And then I've seen people creating games on Power Apps, and it's crazy what people are doing. It's amazing.
right. So let's go back to the ice hockey. So I've actually done that with Power BI, where I've scraped. So I follow Glasgow Clan. I've got a season ticket for them up here,
Awesome.
and when I was trying to do some Power BI demos a few months ago, I was like, what data can I use? And I was shown the web scraper. So I basically scraped all the stats for all the players, how long they'd played, how many penalty minutes, how many goals, how many assists, and was messing around with that. So what we need to actually do is, John is up in Glasgow at the end of February at a conference that myself and Ian are running,
Yep.
and there's going to be some hockey on at the time, so I think we need to get you up to that.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I'd definitely come.
There's about 10 flow sessions as well.
Not quite the same standard of hockey, but yeah, it's interesting sometimes.
It's a fast paced sport that is.
It is good, and there is some ex NHL players in it.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome.
Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
low league NHL players, but they are there.
Well,
So
as long as there's some kind of like competitive nature, I'm sure it'll be good.
there is. So I think your nearest team is going to be Guildford, I think, actually.
Oh, really? Guildford?
Yeah.
Oh.
Guildford,
Wow.
they play in the professional league. There's a professional league which is on Free Sports.
I'm going to have a look into this
They're not
once
in
we
the
finish this.
EIHL, are they, Guildford?
Yeah, Guildford Flames are in the EIHL, yeah. So there was also Milton Keynes Lightning, which is obviously a wee bit further, but they kind of went into the league below.
Okay.
So yeah, you've got some fellow hockey fans on here. Did you actually go while you were in Canada?
I really wanted to, but unfortunately we didn't get to go because we was just moving from Toronto to Montreal, and then we was having to we only had 2 days there. And we had to fly back, so it was kind of a hectic. But
I was there
I'm definitely looking to go. But so I kept talking to all the Canadians that I met. I was like, oh, I'm really thinking about supporting the Toronto Maple Leafs because everyone there just seems to hate them. I mean, it's so funny to watch when you mention anything about the Leafs. So what I did was I went into one of the the sports stores and basically put loads of Maple Leaf stuff on. And I was like, right, I'm going to buy it all, and just sent it to the WhatsApp group and just winding them all up.
when I
Really.
was
Yeah, it was amazing.
I don't know, this is 10 years ago. I went to a Canucks game. It was awesome.
Oh,
Probably one of the
nice.
best games I've ever been to. Just the buzz of it, the atmosphere. Obviously, it's not soccer or football, which is probably a good thing since we don't follow that so much. But it was pretty cool. It was awesome. I loved it.
They are very
Yeah,
into
definitely.
their ice hockey, Canadians, aren't they?
They are. I mean, I think I might volunteer to speak at one of the next events in Canada just to pick up some hockey. I think I'm going to be quite lucky. I'm meant to be at a customer in Boston in November, and it looks like they've got 2 home games at that same time, so I will be trying to pick that up.
Nice, very nice.
So back to career path, we're looking to move into Power Apps or the Power Platform.
Yes.
So is that going to be a total change? Is that going to be consultancy wise then with a consultancy firm, or?
Yeah, I think like I've been looking at like potentially an end user or like a consultancy firm really that will actually just give me exposure to stuff. So I think that's going to be my 6 months to 12 months stepping stone.
Okay, so while you're doing that, you'll be kind of learning Power Apps and Canvas, and you're going to do a series on that as well?
I am. I'm going to be doing jumping into Power Apps with no knowledge thing, just like I've done with Flow, and I'm going to just try and build crazy things that no one else has done yet, so I can basically learn, because I have kind of like a chaotic learning. I learn by doing, so I try to do as much crazy stuff with the software as possible when I first start, to kind of get an idea of my limitations, and that's kind of the approach I'm going to take with Power Apps as well.
I think that's a kind of approach that a lot of people are like. A lot of people are visual learners or doing. So get it and put it in my hand, let me feel it, let me do it, let me touch it, let me break it. And that's how folk learn.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
So is it just a YouTube series or do you blog on it as well?
I've got a blog now, I've got my YouTube channel, and I've got Twitter. So my
having not many socials before and not using Twitter, you're certainly out there on them, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I've even joined the Flow Facebook group. I mean, I don't hardly use Facebook either. I wasn't very a social creature, but now I'm all over social media everywhere, which is it's just going kind of crazy. It was quite stressful when I first did it, because I was getting notifications all the time on my phone, whereas normally it was dead, and I just used it as like a web browser, and then it was like tweet.
Yeah, your phone normally lasts 3 days and suddenly it's dead.
So I have to put it on Do Not Disturb now overnight, so it just doesn't. When the Americans wake up, they don't like something on Twitter and it wakes me up and etc. Which is
it's not a bad thing though. It's shown obviously you're hitting the right areas for yourself, and you're learning as you're doing it. It's always improving you, and people are loving it.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, I really appreciate everyone that's basically like following all my stuff and learning with me. Really, it's been an awesome experience.
If people don't know, what is your Twitter handle? Actually, I know you've got Twitter, but I don't know if I've actually said your Twitter handle other than maybe your name.
My Twitter handle is @flow_Joe_. I have to have the underscores because someone got the Flow Joe before I did, unfortunately. But obviously, I wasn't using it.
If only you'd known back in 2007. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure the guy had it in like 2015. So I'm not getting that. And my website is flowjoe.io. Which is relatively new, but it's got all of my blog posts on there, and it's seen crazy numbers go on there recently, especially with that Flow conference. Was insane. It was awesome.
So do you think that Flow conference has given you quite a big push in the whole community?
I think it's probably given me more exposure to people outside of necessarily like the content creators, because the content creators are always like looking at what other people are doing, I guess. But with more like end users, it's given me more exposure to those guys, I guess.
Because there's one thing that
certainly broadened the circles as well, isn't it? Because for everybody that you know, that we know, it's all small concentric circles,
exactly,
isn't it? And then they'll reach out, and you hit 30,000 people. That's a massive circle.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You only know the people that you know within the circles that you're in. You've just hit another 95% of the other people who are using that. So it's going to give you.
Yeah, there's like 9th and 10th level down if we want to talk about the whole LinkedIn style first, second, and third, that there's people there that would never maybe known you that are in some other circle that's going to come
Yeah,
back now
exactly.
anyway. So it's definitely the 7 degrees of separation.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awesome experience, and it was crazy because like. As I said, in April, I had 0 followers, and I left with like 6 from all of the guys just following me. And then when I started creating content, I just got more and more followers. And I think as of just before this podcast, I hit 700 now. So I've averaged like 140 a month or something like that, which is crazy.
Some ascent, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not too
And then
bad.
obviously just even getting asked by John to be part of that.
Yeah, I know. It
original
was
conference,
amazing.
that's an awesome thing as well. That must have been quite a kind of boost as well when he approached you on that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, he's a big supporter of anyone that's working with Flow. So if you've decided to like start a blog, videos, etc., and you reach out to him, he'll be more than willing to help you. And that's kind of like what I did. I was like, oh look, I'm thinking about doing. Entering for the conference because I've done like a whole series really on creating custom connectors, and I kind of tried to do it from a citizen developer standpoint rather than the technical standpoint. And I've created all visualizations to explain it to people. And yeah, the team that decided what was actually going to be in the conference picked me, and it was a huge surprise, and it was an awesome experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So for anybody that's listening, that's John Levesque at John J. Levesque on Twitter.
So have you got any other conferences or speaking engagements coming up?
I actually haven't. No, I mean, I want to attend some more conferences. I think to before I do my first live one, because that's going to be the next big step.
Dublin?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Dublin's in 2 weeks. Are you heading over?
I'm actually not. No, unfortunately, I'm on a travel ban at the moment because we just recently got back from Washington, and then we went to Calgary and went around Banff. And unfortunately, I'm on a travel ban because I've used all of my holidays up this year already.
Well, this
Yeah.
year's not that long left on it, so it won't be too long to your travelling again anyway.
My year's April to April.
Oh, you did it.
So it just means Scotland then.
Yeah.
You just have to go up to Scotland. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly. If it's on a weekend, I can come to anything. But
I was going to say it's the weekend for Scotland and
yeah, definitely.
stuff, so definitely.
So just before we finish out, we have a couple of questions for you that were submitted by the audience.
Sure, okay. Well, I didn't like that laugh.
I don't know if Ian told. I don't know if I actually spoke with Ian what these were.
You told me the questions and I have no idea the context or anything around
Right.
Sorry.
Which is why that laugh's funny, because I'm just like, I have no idea where this is going to go.
Okay.
So the first question was, what donut would you be if you could be any donut?
Oh God, I know who asked this question. So me, I would be a peanut butter jelly donut.
And why?
Because I had a proper peanut butter jelly sandwich when I went to America, and it was the most amazing thing I'd ever eaten. Now, obviously, I've eaten better things than peanut butter jelly, but just the taste is so good. And I love peanut butter, and I love jam. And then having it all in a nice, like frosted, like container, it would definitely be a peanut
So
butter
what kind of jelly or jam?
I would have raspberry jam. I really like
There's another
Bon
reason to
Maman
come to
jam.
Glasgow.
It's really nice.
Mark, remember that peanut butter and jelly donut I gave you? No, you don't. Right, fine. Screw that.
Yeah.
There's a place in Glasgow that makes really nice donuts.
I mean, if you're...
No, I do remember now. Yeah, George Square. Yeah.
You could just ship some down to me as well. Like I'd be more than willing for you to do that.
I was going to say, I don't know if a jiffy bag or vacuum pack or something might do it, but
yeah,
see what happens.
Vacuum seal it. Yeah.
Now, the other question came from Eliza Benitez.
Okay. Yeah, I met Eliza when I went away recently.
Okay, and she was asking how you would best fertilise a field.
Oh God. Eliza, I would not use human feces to fertilize a field. Okay, Eliza, that's not going to happen. We had this huge discussion while we was on a hike in Washington.
And it turns out this is why you're on a travel ban.
So yeah. So Eliza's a vegan, and she thinks that we should actually go down the route of using human waste to fertilize fields. And I'm completely against this because I honestly don't want to experience that. So that's I would use horse manure.
Just whatever currently gets used in the current marketplace is, I think,
Brilliant.
the demands. I don't really think too much about it.
Sure.
No, I didn't know the answer to either of those, so that's I'm going to have a chat with her on why she thinks that's acceptable, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's not even like a vegan hating meat eater thing there, because she would be consuming the
human.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
Like I've tried to delete most of the conversation out of my memory, so I mean, I can't really recall a lot of the conversation because it was just terrible.
Anywho, moving on. Thanks very much. See you later, Barry.
Yeah.
No, so we will wrap up there. So Joe, I'll just let you shout out all of your different social media and websites again, just so everyone can find you.
Sure, my website is flowjoe.io and my Twitter account is @flow_joe_. That's Joe with an E. Contact me, get in touch, and we can talk about flow or whatever. It'd be awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Thanks very much. Have a good one.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.